A few weeks ago, actually maybe a few days ago, or a few episodes ago, all right, I was talking about the crime in South Africa, how bad it's getting, and I showed you a hit that happened around about the evening time on some random street here in Cape Town, apparently. Well, here's another footage, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive of a assassination this time in literally broad daylight during traffic. Okay, well, not hectic traffic, but there's people on the road on one of the most used highways in the Western Cape, the R300. Now, someone who wishes to remain anonymous sent me in this footage, so nobody else has seen this. Nobody else has this footage. This is an exclusive for Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Newsflash. I'm your host, Joe Emilio. Thanks for tuning in. I went on a rant last time saying that South Africa is one of the most dangerous places to live in. That you could be driving at any point and someone pulls a gun on you, all right? Now, again, in the previous video, I did mention that I don't know the context of why person A tried to unalive person B. Could have been a fight, business disagreement. Maybe it was a upset ex. I don't know. But the point is that this person was able to, in almost broad daylight, unalive someone else. Don't know what's happened with that story. Don't know if there's any leads. And yet, here we go. Another incident, but this time a lot more calculated and a lot more arrogant, I guess you could say. Let's have a look at the footage. Okay, so you'll see a bucky there on the far left in the emergency lane, a white bucky with guys that are quite covered. They've got their hoodies on, they've got masks on, but they're dressed up a little bit like construction workers in their high visibility vests, which is a bit of an oxymoron because they're trying to look inconspicuous, but yet they have the high visibility vests on, so that's a bit weird. But anyway, keep an eye on that bucky. And as you can see, it starts to swerve over. Now, keep an eye on that Isuzu bucky, okay? You can see it just there behind the Mahindra bucky. Did y'all see that? Let's rewind. I'm going to take you step by step. Here we go. So, the bucky that I told you guys to look out for, that white bucky. The reason why it's blurred is because YouTube would take this video down if I showed you what they are pulling out, but let's just call it a pew pew, an automatic one. So you will see here a bullet hit the bucky, and obviously there's a lot of bullets being shot at this bucky, and he veers off the highway. Yeah, an assassination in broad daylight, in moving traffic, moving car. Like a bullet could have easily ricocheted and hit another driver, right? There could have been more casualties than what happened now, or what we've seen in this video. And these guys just don't care. Now you might be wondering, why did this happen? Who was the target? And there is an article about this incident. Kodeta killing of Kata taxi owner on R300 not related to Kailicha, Mfuleni or Somerset West routes. A 32-year-old taxi boss was shot and killed on the R300 highway while traveling with his personal security detail on Monday. This is the Wild West, ladies and gentlemen. We are literally living in the Wild West.
There's tremendously bad things going on.
And now these taxi bosses that are fighting each other for whatever reason are taking the fight publicly in the middle of traffic, in the middle of moving traffic. Y'all might think that this is normal. It's not. Okay, nowhere in the world is this allowed to happen. If this happened in the States, number one, it would be all over the news. Everybody would know about it. And number two, like, people would be really scared because what the hell is going on? Gangsters are shooting up other gangsters in the middle of traffic in broad daylight. It is not normal, people.
The South African situation is very, very dangerous and very bad for a lot of people.
So anyway, I'm gonna keep on putting this stuff in front of your faces, because as much as this is happening on nearly a daily basis in South Africa, because well over 80 people die per day in South Africa, which is completely unacceptable. But my point in making this video is to wake you up. Stop being desensitized to the violence. We need to say enough is enough. And yes, this was taxi bosses, right? These mafiosos, okay? We all know how they throw their weight around, and we all get that they're like some syndicates and all that stuff. Fine, fair enough. I get that. But that doesn't mean that they can just have the ability to go out in broad daylight and shoot each other, putting other South African civilians at risk. This shouldn't be happening at all. Taxi bosses should be scared of authority, should be scared of the law, and they're clearly not. And we all know why. So I'm not gonna go into a whole palaver about why taxi bosses are not scared of authority. Probably because some saps are involved in some taxi dealings and whatnot. My point is, there needs to be a complete overhaul of the justice system and the police system. And we, the civilians, need to start putting pressure on the powers that be to make it happen. I mean, just take a moment to think for a second, okay? Anybody that's in the Western Cape watching this video, I don't know if there's anybody who watches this right now that may think, oh, I was on the R300 just the other day. You know, maybe you drive the R300 every day to work or to get to certain areas that you need to get to. You could have been right next to that bucky, and God forbid, a bullet could have strayed. You may have survived, you may have not. But that's the real danger. Now, there were other injuries. The bodyguards that were supposed to be protecting this guy also got injured and was sent to hospital. But it could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. It is absolutely insane that this is happening in South Africa. This kind of footage should be shown to the likes of John Steenhuisen, Cyril Ramaphosa, the police commissioner, the ministers in South Africa. There is a war happening in South Africa at the moment, and the civilians are in the crossfire. And I'm not just talking about taxi bosses, I'm also talking about the Cape Flats, the ongoing gang wars that happen where nearly every day there's a child that is shot. We need to stop ignoring these issues and making so much noise that these politicians can no longer ignore us, because this has to stop. We deserve better. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? Do you think South Africa has a chance of changing, or do you think we are destined to live in this wild, wild west? Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help me uncover the truth behind land grabs in South Africa, head on over to that Back a Buddy campaign linked in the description and pinned comment. If 4,000 people donated 50 Rand, we would hit our goal, and production can begin on Stolen Ground 2 and 3. If you haven't watched Stolen Ground 1, please go check that out, link in the description as well and pinned comment, as well as some EFT details if you prefer to donate via EFT. You can find out more information on stolenground.co.za. And no matter which platform you're watching this episode on, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe. You know what to do. I've got more content coming your way, and with all that being said, thanks for watching. Your Newsflash is in.